Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and today we're going to be talking about the best mods for Rey, the Galactic Legend. Obviously, we're continuing our series talking about Galactic Legends, doing their journey events, right, the unlock guides, and then also talking about mods. The modding was really heavily asked for in the Discord because a lot of you are going to be getting Rey, other Galactic Legends soon, and knowing how to mod them is very important. So let's get in here. Let's talk about Rey. But first and foremost, we got to give a huge shout out to the channel members. Thank you guys so much again for all your continued support. If you're interested in joining, I've got a link down below. Otherwise, guys, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to this channel. We're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers. When we hit 10,000 subscribers, our King Wampa will hit Relic 9. We'll be taking, not this Wampa that's in the game, we'll be taking him to Relic 9, guys. So let's get in here. Really appreciate the support. Let's talk about Rey. Now, Rey is an interesting character because there's a couple of various options that you can do when modding her. And let me just show you what I mean by that. So there's kind of like three primary stats, very similar to Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. Speed, health, and offense. So there's some players who would just be like, okay, I'm just going to make Rey super fast because she has the fastest base speed of any GL in the game. So if I went all out on speed again, I just picked some mods, I could get close to 500. I could almost get her to 600 speed, which is kind of funny. Like I'm like one speed shy of it. I didn't try that when I made this set. I just kind of randomly picked stuff while still keeping a semblance of what her mods should look like. So you could mod her for high speed. Again, when you do that, though, what you'll see, right, is that from what I currently have, right, her health and offense taking a beating. So we don't want to do that. You could also mod her for high health. You could just throw a bunch of health on her, and again, you'll see, look, I'm gaining some health, but my offense, yet again, taking a beating. So you could mod her for health, right? Go all out on health. And then finally, there's high offense, where my health just drops, but my offense goes up. So in my personal opinion, I would not go high speed, but I know some players who do just because it looks cool. Here's the thing. With those options, if you're going through, I'm going to keep going in and out, sorry. But with these things here, if you're going for all out for speed, offense, or health, in my personal opinion, I'd say that's lazy modding. The reason I'd say that's lazy modding is because you want to really craft mods for a character like Rey, who she really wants all of these stats. Now, I'm going to show you guys the order, right, as I did with Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. We'll show you the order that they go in, but I really think it's kind of lazy if you don't mod her, if you just go all in for one of the stats and don't care about the other ones. I personally think it's lazy. So, the fifth most important stat is speed. Now, I know a lot of you are about to freak out. Just hold on, right? Just let me keep going here. So then, the fourth most important is health, and the third most important is offense. Now, everybody here's ready to come from my head and say, what are the first two important stats? Well, it's offense, and then it's health. Now that I've confused all of you, let me explain what I mean by this. You've got to understand, when you're modding characters, particularly like Galactic Legends, if we start with health here, actually, let's go back. If we go to speed, right, is the fifth most important, right? We'll go to speed here, and then I'll explain. So the reason why speed isn't that important on her is because her ultimate charge is, she gains it when any character takes a turn. So it's not as dependent on her dealing damage, critical hits, or using certain abilities of her own to gain ultimate charge. It's just about the entire field. So the more turns that everybody's taking, the better for Rey. But she necessarily doesn't need to be the one to have that speed to get this done. So just keep that in mind with her. The speed is not nearly as important. Now, why do I have health as fourth and then offense as third here? Well, this is talking about the left side of her mods. Remember, you've got the left side mods here, and you've got the right side mods here. On the left side of your mods, there's far less customization as to what primary stat you can get. Your square is always going to be offense, your diamond's always going to be defense, and then down here, your circle can either be health or protection. You can't have any other stats than that, right? When you look through, you see you can't have any other stats than those. So again, health or protection here, right? Defense here, or offense up here. So for these mods, you want to focus first on the offense percent when you can, and then worry about health, and then worry about speed. Now, obviously, for this one, you're like, well, that's not that hard because this is offense percent. Correct. So what that means here is that you want to pay more attention to the health percent number than the speed. Now, find that happy medium. Don't go all in and just be like, okay, Phil said only worry about health, so I'm going to go in here and I'm going to equip this one, 6 speed and 7% health. Like, let's find a happy medium there, right? Like, don't go to this stage where, like, health, But if it was like, oh, well, I want to get tenacity too, like, I wouldn't worry about that, right? You know, we want to make sure that we still have some semblance of speed on her, but we want to focus on that health. So next, let's go down to the circle. The circle where health is the primary, same thing here. Focus on the offense and then worry about the speed. So here you see I found a happy medium where I've got a good amount of offense and then I've got a good amount of speed as well. Again, another really solid mod here for Ray, again with health. Then you get to the diamond, and this is where things get interesting. So on the diamond, you can get all three stats as a secondary because it's a defense primary mod. For this mod, you're going to go in that order, 3, 4, 5. Offense, health, speed. You want to focus on the offense first. If you can find health, that's great, and then speed kind of comes last. The reason you're going to go in that order has to do with this, obviously the stats that Ray wants, right? She wants offense, health, speed, right? But the big thing here is that on offense percent as a secondary, you can get far more out of it comparative to the primary mod. Let me explain what I mean by that. On this mod here, I've got 5% health and I've got 4.6% offense. So most of you are going to say, oh, you're getting more health. Correct. I have a higher percentage of health here than I do offense percent. But on my health primary mod here, I'm getting 16% health. So I'm getting 5% health here, but the maximum I can get on a mod is 16. So I'm only getting 1/3 of the total health percent that I could get from that mod. So I'm only getting about a 33% boost to what I could have had if I used the health. Now again, you can't use health here, but you get the concept that I'm only getting 5% health compared to the 16% I get down here. But I can get 8.5% offense, and I'm at 4.6, so I have more than half of the offense percent that a square would have, right? That the primary. That's why you focus offense percent more. You want to recognize that you can get further, you can get closer to an offense primary mod by focusing with it on the secondary than you can with health. It's going to go a lot further. The way to look at that, you can get 2% per slice. With a maximum of 5 slices on health, it's 10%. Is the maximum amount of health you could get on a secondary. For offense, the maximum you're going to be able to get is 1.7 per slice, which comes out to 8.5. So you could technically get, if you got a perfectly calibrated mod with 1.7% everywhere, you could have 8.5% offense as a secondary, which would be mental. So that's on these mods on the left-hand side here. You want to make sure that you're focusing on offense, then health, then speed. Now we're going to switch over to the right-hand side. On the right-hand side, that's where stats number 1 and 2 start coming into play, where we want to focus on health first, then offense. Because, like I was showing, you can get far more offense as the secondary than you can health. So a perfect one, we're going to start off with like we'll go down here. So you can see here I've got 16% health, decent speed with 4% offense. I'd like to calibrate this mod some more. I've already tried and you can see it's not really worked out. My issue here is I don't have a lot of offense crosses that are a health primary. And then down here, my bigger issue, right, with this one, again, you see I'm getting some offense. I've got a health triangle here. I just don't have a lot of health triangles where I prioritized offense percent as a secondary. It is something I'm going to have to continue to work on. Would love to find more mods this way. But again, you see the concept that I'm trying to get more speed. I'm trying to get more offense percent as the secondary, knowing that I can get, that health on the primary. But this is the best example of what I'm going for. I've got 7.5% offense on this mod with 16% health. I basically have 2 primaries on this mod. This is exactly why you focus offense as the secondary, right? Primarily, you want to worry about your health and then use offense as this secondary. Offense being the best secondary, in my opinion, for this character because she can get so close to what 8.5% would be here. So that way, I can get my Ray to look like this. 227,000 health, 504 speed, so she's pretty slow, and then 10,770 damage, which I would say for a Relic 7 Ray, if you guys just pop out here for a second and let me move my face, right? For a Relic 7 Ray, I would say that's a very respectable number, right? I'm very proud of the way that her mods have turned out. So where we're going to switch over to here next is kind of show you how my Ray stacks up with others on Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.gg. So if we switch over to GG here, and you go to Ray in the unit search, and you can check for the best mods here. And what you can see is what the best mod setup is in Kyber, right? And it'll show you the most common, right? Now it says best. This is the most common, right? It'll show you the most common in each area. If you're ever looking at a Galactic Legend and how to mod them, pay attention to the Kyber modding. Those are obviously the players who are more than likely the best players in Galaxy of Heroes. The one who's been playing the longest, they probably have the best idea of how to mod Ray. So it'll break down your triangle, cross, circle, and arrow, the ones that you can actually change the primary stat on. So you can see here that, you're going health, 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 and then the arrow most people are running is offense. So again, we'll actually see the percentages, and you can see how that breaks out. Then it shows the average stats. So the average Ray in Kyber is Relic 8. Mine's only 7. She has 516 speed, 200,000 health, and 10,900 damage. So I'm below on the Relic, I'm below on the speed, I'm above on the health, and I'm below on the damage. So how I say that my Ray's pretty well modded, right, is that I'm almost at those average stats with a below average Relic Ray. That's the difference that modding makes, is that with really good mods, I know I could, if I tweaked my diamond just a little bit, obviously making some characters worse, I could get her above that damage number. I'm just not willing to do that. But you can see here, these are the average stats. If you're a player in like Chromium or Erodium, you're like, well, I'm not going to be able to get to these numbers. Correct. But you can at least use this information here to say, well, if you go here, it's telling you to mod for health and speed. Like, that's horrible, right? Like, that's not the way to do it. Use these as your base, right? And say, okay, how close are you getting to these stats? And then you can compare yours to, like, if you compare to Erodium, just for example. Look, the average is Relic 7. There's more speed in Erodium than there is in Kyber. So take that into, like, that is crazy, right? There's significantly more health in Kyber, and then look at the damage number. Just damage ramps up significantly in Kyber comparative to Erodium. So just something to think about there. But where you can see just how common the mods are, like, look at how split players are between health and offense on Ray. It's very, very close. Down here, look at how many players run the protection, right? Everybody runs health. And then down here on the arrow, just look at how common these things are. Offense, speed, health are all relatively in that same bracket, the 3 stats we care about for Ray. So by using this information, you can go ahead and craft the best mods for your Ray using the parameters, and then just recognizing that, like, if you're a Bronzium player, as long as you're above these stats, it really doesn't matter, right? You know what I mean? Like, even if you're like, oh, I'm not close to, the way that they're modded in Kyber, no, but they'll at least be better, right? You'll at least be better than the most of your people in Bronzium as long as you're following these, rules here. So that's kind of how I stack up to Ray. How mine stacks up and how you can look in, to your Ray and modding her. What I want to end it on, again, just about, wrapping this up, right, with finding the balance in your modding. As I did with Kyla, you'll go here. This isn't just about finding the balance between, health, offense, and speed on your Ray to make sure that she's as good as she can. What you want to make sure you're finding the balance of is that you're not just throwing all of your best mods on a single character. Remember, the best that character can do for you offensively is win a single battle. That's the best case scenario they can do if you think of a GAC or a territory war. Your best case scenario on offense is you win one battle with that character. Now, I get that you're like, oh, well, Phil, then job done. But just on defense, your best is, hey, you know what? They could win multiple battles, right? And that's like the, okay. But your worst case scenario on defense is your opponent still clears them. So are you willing to take that chance that your opponent is going to one-shot your, Super Saiyan Ray? Your opponent one-shots her, and now the rest of your teams aren't as good because you stripped their mods to make her better. Just food for thought, guys. If we finally end on this note here, right, if we go back to the different ways that I've seen players mod her, right, the high speed, high health, and high offense. Particularly, we pay attention to the health and offense. When you mod her for high health, what you're opening yourself up to there is the Sith Eternal counter. If your Ray can't deal enough damage to Sith Eternal, the high health Ray just kind of falls apart, right? She just won't deal enough damage and it won't matter. With your high offense Ray, it's actually easier for some off-meta counters to occur because she won't have the survivability. So she may get, a sudden whirlwind off. She may get an ultimate off, but she doesn't have the health, and it's very easy to kind of just crush her and mow her down. So that's kind of why you want to find that balance between those two stats. Again, the high speed Ray, I don't really think I don't see the benefit there, if I'm completely honest. Now, I'd be remiss, I don't know what the wording is. I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't at least mention this. How you mod Ray, there can be, the big thing with Ray, right, is that once you get Ben solo, things change. When you get Ben solo, Ray's mods can in many ways become far more important, because with Ben solo there, he adds a massive dynamic into Ray, especially with his Omicrons. With the big one actually here, obviously the Force Dyad being the most important. But down in here, right, if Galactic Legend Ray's in the leader slot, this attack instead deals true damage and inflicts healing immunity for 4 turns. That basically stops Sith Eternal right there. This ability right here can stop Sith Eternal. JTR can do a good job of that with her healing immunity, but especially Ben solo being able to get it there for 4 turns just completely can destroy Sith Eternal's chances for beating Ray. So I know a lot of you'll sit there and you'll be like, oh, I just use my Sith Eternal all the time against Ray. As you get into the later stages of Kyber, or when players are starting to get that Ben solo, you'll see how much more difficult it is to beat Ray when Ben solo is in that team, because even if you can get Ben down, right, and you still haven't killed Ray yet, that healing immunity comes into play, and then she just decimates you. So that's the end of the video, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Obviously, we're going to continue doing this series for all the Galactic Legends. I might take a quick break from it. We'll make sure we circle back to it, because I do want to get some other content out for you guys. But like and subscribe, comment down below. I love all you. May the Force be with you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.